January 31st, I was admitted into Lincoln Prairie Behavioral Health Center. 172 days after my 12th birthday, I was riding in an ambulance on the way to a place meant to help me. The last time I saw my parents before leaving was being wheeled out in one of the hospital beds, even though I could walk perfectly fine. On the ride to Springfield, Illinois, I had my phone, texting my best friend Rain in my family group chat. It was pitch black out of the window that was in front of me, and an old lady sat next to me, checking my pulse every few minutes. She kept asking me if I was all right. Even though I replied yes, you could see I wasn't. It felt like jail, a place you could walk into with limited outside contact, anxiety turning in your stomach from the fear of the death penalty on your next court hearing, though no death penalty was involved or court hearings. The death penalty could be the fear of getting in fights or laying in bed and getting jumped by a group of people who hated you because you sat in their chair that day. The court hearings, there was none. There was only therapy sessions, having to lie and say you've been getting better just to try and get home quicker to see your family and pets. I sat in the waiting room for around an hour before the lady called me from my trance of watching Elemental on the tiny TV hanging from the wall. I signed around 60 papers, signature after signature, that my parents had already agreed to. I changed into a dark blue sweatset in the bathroom while she looked through my backpack that my sister had packed. The strings were cut from my favorite sweatpants, but my cow stuffed animal stayed in my arms throughout my stay. After telling the woman in my life from when my thoughts of suicide started, she brought me to an elevator. That woman reminded me of someone I knew well, Blair. She was a tall black woman with her curly hair in a bun, but she treated me like I was a kid she just met, instead of an insane patient that needed to go in a padded white room. After sobbing on the phone with my mother, begging to go home, just for her to tell me it would help and to give it a chance, we hung up. The new old woman brought me to another room, a medical room. A tall woman walked in with us, grabbing a sheet. They checked for scars, marks, things that they could identify on my body. A thin white sheet covered me from the eyes of strangers I knew nothing about, stripping the only protection from my body. She quickly looked, only for a moment, and I appreciated her for that. After changing, she brought me to another level. That night, I cried on the bathroom floor and slept with 2 family pictures under my pillow and my cow in my arms. The rest of the days were a living hell. One night having woken up to a man going through my nightstand, another day seeing a girl having been hit over the head with a chair, hearing the screaming and yelling, banging on the doors to try and get back to the fight they had been in, but some were peaceful, like Friday nights where we sang in the group room to Taylor Swift on the TV, or getting pink lemonade in a pitcher with styrofoam cups. While there, I wrote many letters, either to myself or people who I love. One thing I remember well is seeing a girl in the group room. She had large, puffed-up, pinkish scars on her arms. I looked at mine that were thin and bumpy from the tiny eyebrow razor I used at night when I felt empty. Mine were different than hers, smaller. Did mine matter? But they weren't much different. The difference was the story. Every scar is a healed story trapped beneath skin. The first night when I was finally able to come home, my 2 older sisters came into my room. They held a cardboard box from Build-A-Bear. I was supposed to go up to a large mall in Chicago while I was gone. In the box, a small teddy bear with golden fur and a red sweatshirt that said hugs. Hannah, my oldest sister, said they named it Stick because it's the first word that came to mind. I cherish this bear, not because of its stupid name, but because of the people that gave it to me. On January 31st, it will mark 1 year since I was admitted. It doesn't mean I haven't thought about it. I've been scared to ever try anything. Anytime I think about it, I think about my family, friends, and those closest to me, because if just last year I couldn't manage to stay on this earth for me, then I will for them. But in the near future, I hope to for me.